Have you ever wondered whether a child relies more on food or love at the earliest stage? In the last century in the United States, a psychologist designed an experiment, almost hellish in nature, to uncover this very question. It not only shattered the entire Western parenting system, but was also repeatedly criticized by the United Nations Human Rights Committee. The main subjects of this experiment were not humans, but an animal that shares 94% of its genes with us, the rhesus monkey. Today, let's talk about what is considered one of the most brutal psychological experiments in human history.
The rhesus monkey experiment.
The time goes back to the 1930s, when the most popular child-rearing concept in the United States was called the cry immunity method. What is the cry immunity method? It's simple. When a child cries, ignore them. The proponent behind this theory was behaviorist psychologist John Watson, who believed that children form attachments only because of food, not love. Therefore, if you want to raise an independent and strong child, the best way is not to hold them, even if they cry until they are hoarse. This theory swept across Europe and America, becoming a parenting Bible for millions of families. However, in the following decades, one thing remained unexplained. Why did these children grow up to be either anxious and irritable, or cold and distant? It wasn't until 1957 the psychologist Harry Harlow stepped forward to challenge this. He said that humans are inherently in need of love, but the question was, how to prove it? To validate his theory, he conceived an extreme method. If love is innate, then even without a mother, as long as there is a substitute, attachment will form. So he chose rhesus monkeys as the subjects of his experiment. The experiment began, and the baby monkeys were immediately separated from their mothers and placed in iron cages. Inside the cage, there were two types of surrogate mothers. One was a wire mother monkey with a milk bottle attached to its chest, and the other was a soft cloth mother monkey, which provided warmth but no food. Which one do you think the baby monkeys would choose? The results surprised everyone. They only approached the wire mother monkey when they were hungry, and after drinking the milk, they would immediately run to the cloth mother monkey and cling to it all day long. Even more bizarrely, when the experimenters frightened the baby monkeys, they desperately burrowed into the cloth mother monkey's embrace, as if it were their real mother. Even though the cloth mother monkey couldn't move or speak, they were willing to stay by its side forever. At this point, Harlow decided to up the ante by installing mechanisms on the cloth mother monkey, such as sharp iron spikes and cold air vents. Imagine, when you're terrified and seeking comfort, the mother holding you sprays cold air in your face and injures you, leaving you covered in wounds. The baby monkeys frantically fled in all directions, but the frightening part is that once the mechanism stopped, they returned once again to the cruel cloth mother monkey. They knew they would be hurt there, yet they still chose to go back. Harlow's record stated that they had no other choice. Harlow continued to push the experiment to the extreme. This time, he had a group of baby monkeys live from birth in completely empty iron cages, with no mother, no companions, only walls and solitude. A few months later, researchers attempted to place the cloth mother monkey into the cage. The baby monkeys had no reaction, even emitting a cry of despair similar to that of a human infant. They no longer trusted the world, and the severity increased. When these monkeys reached adulthood, the symptoms worsened. They would bite and scratch themselves for no reason and refuse to interact with other monkeys. When encountering unfamiliar monkeys, they would no longer run away but instead attack violently. Harlow described these monkeys as living shells. Meanwhile, another group of baby monkeys with cloth surrogate mothers grew up to interact normally with other monkeys, playing, mating, and forming social groups. Harlow proposed a viewpoint that love equals touch, plus comfort, plus interaction. If any of these three variables are missing, it leads to an incomplete emotional system. When his paper was finally published, it shocked the entire United States, completely debunking the cry it out method. But what followed was overwhelming moral condemnation, because this experiment used over 5,000 monkeys, many of which could never recover. Public opinion overwhelmed the laboratory. Harlow was forced to terminate his research. His experiment also became one of the major driving forces behind animal protection legislation in the United States. So the question arises, should this experiment be remembered, or should it be sealed away? Harlow once said, If my research results can prevent thousands of human children from being lonely and neglected, then I am willing to bear all the blame. Today, you might also think this is too cruel, too inhumane. But this experiment, combined with the century-long misunderstanding of indifferent parenting, finally made humans understand that what children truly need is not food, but the feeling of being loved. In the end, can you accept such an experiment? If you were Harlow, what would you do? Tell me your true thoughts in the comment section.